one of the important things we're going to think about is the wind today. It's a
Yeah.
pretty big deal.
Yeah, if that ball was hit from the other side, that ball's staying in. And the wind is at the back of the Black Bears going towards the Vegas Night Owls right now. So it is kind of swirly, right? So we'll keep an eye on that for you.
That's a really good shot. One of the things that is really important for the people that are hearing is how to start playing the game starting windy day.
Too much offense there from Zoe and Brooke. Zoe has one of the best backhand flicks out of the air from the women, so she set that up great and then was able to put it away with her forehand.
And that's something that the team or everybody doing today is going to be able to handle that wind, you know. Move your feet, get ready for point of contact in order to hit the best shot you can.
California gets one stop here, but Vegas serving on 4-0-2 here.
It's a great crash in there. And I feel that being on a different side of the court is going to give you an advantage today because of the wind for sure.
Yeah. They needed that side out because it's 5-0. Okay, so now they can get a side out, maybe put some points on the board before the side switch. If they didn't get that side out, it would have been a really rough start here. This is interesting. So Lina started out on the left and Layne on the right, and they did this yesterday in their match as well. When things weren't going so well, they switched it up and put Layne on the left and Lina on the right. They're both pretty good on both sides, so I think they're just trying to look for a different look there. We'll see how that plays out.
Absolutely, I think that's the beauty of the strategy, right? You
Right.
be able to figure out a way to kind of take the timing away from the other team. But right now, it's just one way.
Yeah, one-way traffic happening here.
Finally, we got a first. As I know, I'm going to have the win with me. Awesome.
That ball hit a little leaf. There is a tree right behind the Vegas Night Owls, providing some shade, which is great, but some leaves and stuff have fallen onto the court, so we'll keep an eye on that. Great defense there, just Zoe just too much again.
And I think when you have such a big lead, you know, the pressure is already off, so I think that California for sure is going to have to step it up with more aggressive shots and try to be able to get some points on the scoreboard. great adjustment for Vegas. I mean, they're not really hitting those strikes hard enough. They're using the wind as a part of their power. That's the first unforced error we've seen from the net, which is great by being
Right.
I think we can continue to talk about the fact that the wind can definitely take some of the momentum and confidence of the player.
Right, and even in these dink rallies, you know, you don't think of wind too much, but even a little gust can pop something up where all of a sudden it looks like, oh, that was a bad dink, and it may not have been. It could have just been the wind.
And if you're adding as well that you have a team in front of you who's not missing, then your choices are becoming limited for sure.
Great finish there by Lina, set up by Layne. It is interesting. You don't see this much on the men's side, but Layne and Lina both much prefer their two-handed backhand than a forehand drive, and they have more power on that side as well.
That's a great shot, great point, great cover by California. But as we mentioned, one of the things you're saying about the backhand is technique-wise, it's more constructed. Forehand, sometimes players have a tendency to change the grip to make it a little more aggressive.
Yeah.
It's sometimes unreliable, depends on the ball and the point of contact. You can see, especially on that defense, the wind taking a toll. I mean, she was on the other side, that ball will come easy out of the paddle, but the wind is actually making it a little more harder. So maybe swing a little harder, I guess, to be able to compensate the lack of power from more wind. Wow.
Great play.
That's amazing how they were able to put that paddle over and over again and defend those shots.
Layne has come a long way in the last 6 months, or 6 to 9 months, in terms of just her doubles play. She's always been a good singles player, but her defense and resets have been unbelievable. As I said, commentator curse there, Jonathan. As I say that, she pops one up, but overall, her defense is in an elite level right now.
And the transition is not easy, right? You're a great singles player, you want to get into doubles. It's a lot of things that takes place to be able to make that jump to the next level for sure. But I can see that she feels comfortable when she transitioned all the way to the kitchen. I say more, I think singles players, how the sport is evolving, those drives and becoming more powerful, I think that it's a legitimate opportunity for them to see the benefit of working on the doubles and get there, because I think it's possible, especially how the play has been evolving for the last few months.
great side out there by California. They really had to fight for that one. They're down 3-10, and they needed that ball back. It was a great rally.
And Eric, as I see it, you know, the importance of having the patient, knowing that is the wind taking the majority of your shots, having maybe a little more follow through on those.
Yep.
Maybe that gonna give a little more control. That's a great
flick from Layne. That ball earlier on the last rally, we heard the dreaded "you, me" from Lina, which is never a good thing in doubles. So again, I think if they can keep working on who's taking what middle ball, I think they're going to see a lot more success when they're serving.
Another interesting part that we're starting to see is they're starting to feel more comfortable with the win, right? And you can see how the score is reflecting that.
Jonathan, as a player, I know you're an elite level singles player. Would you rather be playing in doubles? Would you rather be playing into the wind or have the wind at your back?
That's a really good question, Eric. I'm a lefty, so whatever can enhance my leftiness is gonna make it harder for the other team.
Yep.
Definitely, it's gonna be the win.
Got it. Okay.
In time, who's gonna take in the right time?
And in honor of the great Dave Fleming, let's play pickleball.
Let's do it. Eric, we talked about it. I just said it a minute ago. You cannot play with the wind and start making up for serves.
Two long serve returns, and here we go, 2-0. Now, one thing real quick that I'd like to just touch on a little bit, because I've been talking to the players. This court is newly refinished, and it does have a lot of grit, so the ball is not bouncing up as high. So the speed ups off the bounce and things like that may be a little bit off. Pablo getting called for a service warning.
It's gotta be energy. I gotta tell you that right now, Eric. We have to get an energy attitude. We gotta get out there. It's too quick, too fast. That was a ballsy move from trying to get a Ernie and open the court at that point.
Yeah, if you're gonna Ernie like that, you got to put the ball away, and that was definitely not put away. Delgado showing some hands quick early on.
I'll keep saying it. You know, Delgado's a big guy, has good hands. You know, that really helps him in the moment of need.
Couple like really early unforced errors here from both sides. Again, we're getting used to the wind, we're getting used to the shadows, all of that, but hoping to pick up the play a little bit here.
One of the things that I tell people when I'm coaching them or they're asking me for feedback when it's a windy day, your legs have to be constantly moving because that point of contact is not the same. So you gotta move your feet and get ready for anything comes your way. That's the beauty of the lefty, right? That bounce goes the other way. And right-handers, most of them not able to get that until they get familiarized with that shot.
That's Rafa. So I like the idea. Juan is having a little bit of trouble getting in from the transition zone. So he's just hitting a drive, and Rafa's trying to close on that. And I like the idea because what they had been doing wasn't working. So I like the switch up of strategy there. Now Vegas gets another point. We're 1 point away from a side switch at 5-2 right now. Rafa's shaking his head. He just had an unforced error into the net, and I can tell what he's mad about. He should have just dinked the ball across court, and he tried to go for a tricky shot and then put it into the net. You could see him changing his mind as he did it. Wow. So Delgado just got pulled out wide, hit an ATP, but I don't think it was going to stay in, but Rafa had already committed to the defense of it. Those are so tough to pull away from.
These guys are in incredibly great shape. They're going to run for every ball, so you got to be always ready for it.
That could be the play that Juan has that gives him a little bit more confidence. He put a couple forehands and an overhead away. And maybe that's, sometimes players just need one play to get themselves mentally back in it.
Eric, I played Davis Cup for my country for 8 years. And one of the things that I learned really quick is the energy, winning or losing, stay their mind, and just trying to be able to make them feel you there.
Wow. Pablo just mishit a forehand. And if he was on the other side of the court, that would have sailed 2 feet out, and it just lands on the line.
And I feel that's going to be the strategy that, especially being a lefty, Rafa can do. That ball with win will move extremely fast, and that's something they can take advantage of that. And you can see it happen twice. So if I was Rafa right now, I want to keep driving.
Yep.
And for his partner to make sure he's there to provide whatever need is necessary.
Yeah, I like that play. I mean, Delgado just got on top of that ball and was able to put it down, but I agree with you. Rafa hit a couple great drives. I think they just need to get the ball back and keep doing that. What a drive from Pablo. I would call that a drip. Would you agree?
Absolutely.
That had some dip.
That's the leftiness. I'm all about that, so that's what we want to see today in MLP.
Game point here already for Vegas.
He tried it again. This time he just mishit it, but just the way that they're seeing how it should be played with the win as an important part of the game, that is extremely well done by Las Vegas. Win should be your friend. Don't treat it as your enemy.
Okay, California gets the ball back. I'm really interested to see where Vegas returns this serve. If it goes to Rafa, he better be hitting it a million miles an hour. There it is. And now they're in.
We need that. We need the energy from him, as well for his partner, and start moving forward with those points. So what does that tell you, Eric?
So here's, just in watching Rafa, he got some energy from hitting that winner, and then when he went to go serve, his timing was off. He was like already ready to serve, and then he had to wait for the ref. I would have just reset myself there because you have the whole 10 seconds. And then just on this play, Vegas had the .1, but it sounds like Pablo stepped on the line there. So lucky break for California.
Yeah, he read it. He read that like a book.
Now we use the term a lot, and I don't love the term, but right now we have some scoreboard pressure. If California scores another one, I'm thinking Vegas is taking a timeout here. Yep. 8-10, and Juan is serving.
And
Okay.
you know, it was working the driving.
Yep.
Why change it?
I don't know. I don't have a good answer for you, Jonathan. You know, now that looks like a good timeout, and now we just need 1 point here for Vegas to take it 2-0. So let's talk about that strategy right there a little bit, because all these guys are super athletic, right? But one thing that I like about that one was Rafa faked the Ernie. Well, he didn't fake an Ernie. If they Ernied it at him, he was there. Or if they hit the ball to him, he was ready for the Ernie. But that forces the ball middle, right? And then Juan can just take over and hit a forehand hard, and then he wins the point. Now, okay, we have some scoreboard pressure. California gets the ball back, 8-10-1. This is getting exciting.
I still have to understand the last 3 or 4 points that they won was driving purposes. And now we're starting to drop.
We're
I'm
hitting
not saying about a
thirds.
strategy. I want to know why when other.
There we go.
That's what I'm saying.
It's like we're predicting the future here, Jonathan.
I don't want to brag the fact that I wrote a book about data management, but I'm telling you, you gotta keep thinking about the data. You can't just change your mindset. Strategy.
Again, I'm okay with that.
I'm okay with that.
Rafa's got a great two-handed
Right.
backhand drive. Like, go hit it.
Right.
Juan was crashing. You know, you missed the shot, but do what you're doing well. We'll get started here with Lina serving. About a foot deep. Maybe, you know, the men just played. Maybe Lina forgot about the wind going in her direction.
One of the things that I've been seeing, especially today and yesterday, is if a female wants to go against the men, you better be ready for the ball coming back. It's not going to be an easy just one shot and a mistake out of that. So.
Especially from a low to high. Like Lina sped that up at James, but the problem is she sped it up low to high, and he covers his body so well. He's already on top of the ball and putting it back down. And Vegas already up 2-0 very quickly.
And we talk about it. If you have the win, you have to take advantage of it, especially when you're going to be switching sides after 6 points. That was a good speed up, you know, trying to tell him that he's there. And, you know, California has to come big right now. You know, there's no room for mistakes at this point.
Yeah. I like the aggression from Juan.
You have to be. You have to be right now, especially if it's hard for you to identify the win, that can definitely put some pressure when somebody's trying to make a swing or not.
See, this is the type of aggression that I would like to have seen from him in men's. I know it's a different game, but he's bringing the energy all of a sudden, and he's not playing tight at all.
This is a totally different team that I'm seeing right now.
Right.
And that's exactly what we want to see. You're not playing for yourself, you're playing for a team, your community. So definitely every point has to count, and the mentality has to be there every single time. Which is fine, right? I mean, he's playing that aggressive game. You're gonna be tended to make maybe a little more unforced errors, but overall, you're gonna be able to have opportunities to be on top.
Agreed. That's a great ball from Juan.
It's a totally different player right now. We're seeing.
Yeah, for sure. I'm glad he was able to loosen up and just once he's playing his game, I mean, he has some crafty stuff. I for sure thought that was going down the line.
Sometimes players have the tendency to play better as the game progresses.
Yep.
And because we play in such a short format, you know, the mentality should be, hey, I'm already in, so I can have that attitude right on point.
Great offense from James, keeping him back in the transition zone. Now Vegas has a chance. If they had scored there, we would have been at a side switch. But instead, now Vegas is able to come back. Let's see what they can do. Unlucky in that chord there for Lina. I do think that Vegas is playing the right way in terms of strategy. With that wind coming against them, they're just dropping everything, getting into the kitchen and playing those longer points. Or
right.
James heard me and said, okay, I'll just hit 2 forehand drives, 7 billion miles an hour.
I mean, he has the power to do that, so why not break the wind and show them that he can still generate power from that 400 backhand.
And the wind against them actually helps the ball dip quicker, and we just saw 2 great drives there. So now it's all 5-5.
One of the things that I would like to see, windy day, I would like to see some underspin. I would like to see some slices. I want to see that ball moving around.
And we're gonna, right, and I think Vegas was just hitting great drops and great drives there, so we'll see if they can keep that up with the wind now. And just for the fans at home, just a reminder, the wind is very gusty. It's at the back of the Las Vegas Night Owls going towards the California Black Bears right now.
Not only do we have that, we have the heat is going to be a factor, and as well the court is extremely slow, which makes a little bit of different type of bounce. As instead of going and bouncing forward, he just retracts himself, making it a little bit harder to identify the bounce of the shot.
Vegas won that point, but I know that James hit the majority of those right at the end there, but Brooke did a phenomenal job. James stepped over twice on the 3rd and the 5th like he was going to take the ball and didn't, and she was able to keep that ball in.
I like that by Juan.
Yep.
You need to be able to take accountability for the balls that you can help the team. And if you let them pass, you pass an opportunity. So I like the fact he's going out there, putting himself a little uncomfortable to make those shots, and that's exactly what he needs to do.
Oh, that was a close call. I couldn't see it live. Looks like they're not going to challenge.
So let's think about a couple minutes of that. So the first 5 points, Juan's playing at the same style he's playing now. So mindful for everybody's reading it. If it's working for you, don't change the way you actually are playing the points.
Right.
Even though if you lose some,
yeah,
you see the data.
Yeah, you can't. They're going in with a certain strategy, and if that strategy starts working, but then stops, you can't just stop that strategy. You have to stick with it, even if you do, like you said, lose a couple points. James Delgado says, get that out of here. I haven't seen too much of James in doubles, but he really covers, for a big guy, he covers his body very well, and he's ready for any sort of backhand counter. He gets the paddle way up, kind of by his throat level, so that he can be coming down at the ball.
Right.
Very impressive today.
I like what I'm seeing right now. I like that both teams are really playing out there. They're being more aggressive on the bounce, from the air, and that's what they really need. You know, we're playing MLP. Every point is a final.
And one thing, James just got big there to finish that one off. James is a little bit of a newer player. He signed with the PPA in 2025, I believe. He is in High Point, North Carolina, and he trains all the time with that Charlotte crew. And so he gets a lot of reps in with Brooke, which is great. Obviously, I think that's probably why Vegas drafted him. But, you know, I think even though it's a newer partnership, they've been training a lot together. So I think that really helps with the team chemistry part.
Absolutely, that's important part of the game, to trust your partner, to know what he or she can do. That was a decision to throw a lob with the wind against you, going backwards on a dink, and especially when you're 8-7.
Yeah, he was in a really bad spot. I actually don't mind the lob there, but you have to remember that I mean, basically you just gave Brooke Buckner an overhead from a couple feet off the line, which I don't think is a recipe for success. That was okay. That was so much. That's exactly what you're looking for from Juan. He got big in the middle, put the ball back behind him, was ready for the next one to put it away. I think, you know, he seems to be on a roller coaster a little bit in this match, up and down, up and down. He's on an up right now. Let's see if they can put a couple points on the board.
That was a really important point, especially for...
I think they were asking if they had a timeout, and I'm not sure if they did or not. So, but we resume play.
You can see that the patience, taking the time in transition, is paying off to get the high ball, as California is back in the game. That's an emotional thing right there. When you 8-8, that's when you have to be able to take your time to identify.
In this first mix match.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. What a great shot. I don't know if because he's hearing some salsa music, but I'm telling you right now, Juan is on, and I totally love it.
Game point here for California, and they could get back in this match. I think Delgado had enough of that, and he let out a little frustration on that last one. Now, can California hold them here?
This is the perfect time to try to return as deep as you can with some margin, especially because the wind is coming against them, so that will buy them some time.
Yeah, that's a much better return there from Juan.
Yep.
Yep, popping the ball up to Brooke's backhand.
And we talk about it, right? So
Yep.
we're there in the moment, that the precise, the thought process.
Short middle return.
Wow. Wow.
They got away with that bad. I mean, it wasn't a terrible return, but it was a short middle one with the ball.
Eric, the
bouncing.
drive happened.
Yep.
Then, you know, Brooke was able to take the shot, and the defense was amazing. And
Yep.
from there, you know, that happened. So I don't think it was a bad play.
Oh, right, right. For sure it wasn't. Juan calling the ball out, but Lina wasn't able to pull off it in time.
That's such a good point.
Agreed. I think Delgado's getting a little bit too big in the middle there. I'm okay with him taking those balls in the middle. The problem is he's speeding up middle at Juan's forehand or Lina's backhand and then trying to move himself laterally left, and I don't think that that's the play.
One of the things that I've been noticing is having the win against yourself is actually an advantage right now.
Yeah.
Because now you are nervous, you're a little bit tentative, and then if you hit it, it's just going to go out right away.
Right. This is the longest rally we've had this whole match. Wow, what a move by Delgado there. Put away an early.
She's trying to make a change after playing for a long time on that dink, and you know he was able to read it right away. Oh, that's a great shot.
That's a great team win there for California. They were down. Vegas, here we go.
You know, Eric, I gotta give kudos to Juan and especially Lina. What a great game, especially at the end. The consistency. You know, sometimes you gotta struggle to win, and I think that they both were able to do that on a high level, and that's why they deserve the win. So now we got lefties on the court.
Yep.
And lefties in mix. Well, and this one is actually different because we have two lefties. So
right. So now both women are on the left.
Correct.
They're hitting backhand dinks. So that I think Zoe's a little bit more familiar with that, but I don't. You know, Layne has become very consistent here. And as I say, we get into a cross-court dink battle.
And one of the things that you shared in the beginning of our connection here with the audience, that California love to hit some back, especially, you know, the women. And I think this is actually going to be a benefit for the lefty because they're putting her in the right spot, the way she feels comfortable, allowing the lefty to be himself and be able to have that forehand and help the team.
Great hands battle won by Rafa there, but all four playing really well right now.
You know, one of the things that I like about Rafa is his attitude. I mean, he plays MLP style, everything. You know, I play him in North Carolina, and you know, from the first point, he's pumped up, and I think this actually is what is needed for this type of event, because every point counts. And you can see right now, California is taking 3-0 up with the win against, which is huge right now.
Right. Oh my. Errant drive there.
I think that if they can continue the strategy that happened in the last game by driving, by waiting for the right time and making sure when it's time to grind, it's time to grind.
One interesting tidbit here for the audience that we haven't really touched on yet is for a long time, actually the entire 2024 season, Pablo was teammates with Lina and Layne on the Brooklyn Aces. Now they're the DC Pickleball team, but they were teammates together, and now Pablo was traded in the offseason to Vegas. So they're all 3-4 players are very familiar with each other. Long extended dink battle here.
That's a good opening. You know, the dinking was getting harder and faster, and at that point, a little bit of fight between Pablo and Rafa. But Pablo came on top by changing the pace on the dink and putting it away from Rafa.
Great transition zone reset from Zoe there.
Oh, what a great hands. And that's exactly what we needed it, especially when the decision to go down the line and speed up, Pablo was there, and the counter for Rafa is just marvelous.
Rafa's defense right now is next level, and Layne is seeing 75 to 80% of the balls, but she's keeping the ball in play. She's popped up a couple, but Rafa's right there to clean it up for her. They're playing really well right now.
But it comes from the energy we talk about, right?
Right.
He's there, and you can see his presence. You can see that he's trying to defend and move himself as much as he can. And that creates pressure for the team that is actually trying to look for openings, because you see like, oh my God, this guy's everywhere. And that's exactly what Rafa is doing right now. Oh, wow. Oof.
Oh, unbelievable athleticism from like everybody, honestly, right there.
This is an entertaining game, I have to
Very.
say. Crafty.
And the other thing is, you know, we started off that women's, and it was a little unforced errors, wind. We just started playing, but now these players are playing at the top of their game right now, and it's super fun to watch.
They've been playing for quite some time now. They're starting to get the understanding of the core, the ball, the wind, and that allows them to be able to identify what makes sense to do. And I think right now they're in the peak of their game because of that. That's the feeling, right? When you have a lefty player that is constantly looking at that forehand, is so close, you know, to be able to make sure you don't hit it in the wrong spot. Good transition.
I feel like Layne is feeling the pressure a little bit. I said 75 to 80%. I think she's getting 90% of the balls hit to her, and so she's feeling a little tight getting out of that. I think Rafa needs to help her out by maybe taking over a little bit more court. He's still encouraging and being a good teammate, but I think he needs to take over a little more. That was a weird bounce. Something happened weird. Maybe it came off of Zoe's paddle weird. I don't know, but he was caught off guard there.
After we reviewed the call, the court is overturned. The ball was in. California Black Bears lose 1-3 challenge. You have 2 counts remaining. Las Vegas has 3 counts remaining. There was no play.
Pablo, you know, this is the beauty about this game.
And we're going to change ends here because that ball was counted in, so it's 6-4, and we're going to change ends.
All right, so what do you think? Now we change size, 6-4.
Vegas has the momentum here. California's going to need to get the ball back.
15 seconds. Time in. 6-4-2. Your way over the agua right now.
Wow. Okay. So we just gained momentum by getting that call overturned, and then Zoe misses a quick serve out, and it was out wide too. It wasn't even deep. You know, and I said California needed a momentum shift. We got an easy point with a serve miss, and then we just win a point. So now California's back in this thing.
That's a great point from Pablo.
Yep, great point.
And it's such an important point, knowing that, you know, maybe a relaxation from the changeover, make that mistake on the serve, but you gotta stay in, especially, you know, this game is not over, it just barely began. And that's what we're talking about, right? So already 2 unforced errors. If I was playing, I would definitely turn on target that play a little more and see if I can get some emotions out of her. Well, and that shows you.
Zoe's got some of the best hands in all of women's pickleball. And yeah, she missed a couple, but chances are she's not going to miss too many in a row. Great finish there from Layne. We're at 6-6-2. This is a really entertaining match.
That's a really good speed up with spin. You know, the beautiful thing about being a lefty is when you make the opponent contact, that ball actually has a different type of projection. So if you're not used to it, you will feel a little bit late when it comes to identifying how ball is going to come to you. Great defense. What a great decision to be made.
Yeah, great defense from Layne, like unbelievable defense, and then a great.
That's the first time we've seen this type of shot, and since we were here, Eric, I think that that's extremely important to change that mindset. That not every ball has to be as hard as you can.
Yep.
The tendency of these powerful paddles is to increase power, increase spin, but sometimes you got to go back to the old one-on-one pickleball in which if you're not in the right place, I'm gonna make you run, and I think that's exactly what just happened.
And Pablo did a great job disguising that drop volley, right? Like, he looked like he was about to smash it and then was able to just put it away. Okay, here we go. 7-6, and Vegas is on a 1 from an errant volley from Layne. Just a little indecision there from Pablo. You talked about it earlier in the match. You need to be able to keep moving your feet. And I think Pablo got set thinking the ball was going to be in one spot, and it wasn't. And the wind gusted there, and it threw him off balance.
You know, one of the things that as a lefty that you can do is that when you put the paddle up to try to go for a shot, you can definitely hook it. And that is something that, you know, righty doesn't quite feel natural, but for us lefties it does. So it definitely can take a little advantage when it comes to shots like that. I still love what everybody's doing on the game. The defense, the transition is really clean. Who's gonna need a little bit more here to see who's gonna take this game. Two dings right-handed, Eric?
What's that?
He just hit Rafa. And, you know, it's such an important time of the game to rely on a non-dominant hand for that. You know, that shows a lot of confidence.
I think that one was Rafa getting in his own head a little bit there. He's trying to take over a little bit middle, but he wasn't really set, and so he had to move and just put that volley a little bit out. So now Vegas has some momentum. If they can get one more point here, it's 8-6-1. 9-6-1 is, this is an important rally here.
And to go back into that, even though that was a mixed hit for Pablo, you know, the tendency when you play mixes is if you're the male to do more, and
right.
that can enhance the unforced errors ratio. So it is important to understand that how you're going to manage that sensation without coming across as I want to take every single shot, because at that point you actually taking away your partner to be able to be of help.
Right. And California earns a very quick side out. And so now it's 6-8-2. Layne left that one, but it was at least a couple inches in.
And we talk about it, right? So we are in an important time, 8-7. The wind is picking up. How do we want to play these points? Do we want to go for it? We want to wait for the right shot. Decision to be made.
Rafa Hewett with unbelievable get. Also, I love the leadership from Layne. They returned middle, and it was questionable who's taking that ball. She said, you, and then Rafa was able to hit a good drop in, but great hands from Rafa, tie it up at 8-8-2.
One of the things that I'm, you know, and kudos to and hi to my coach, Maria Lopez, you know, she always tells me when you are able to get into that middle to try to help either you're playing, you know, especially on mix, stay in position. Don't go back to your position because you're going to leave the court open. Stay there and fight as the point prevails.
Yeah, once you're engaged, stay engaged.
I'm okay with that. Challenge myself to feel comfortable, feeling uncomfortable.
Yeah. Rafa with a little and a point at Zoe, meaning he wants Layne to return that serve to Zoe. We'll see if she can get it over there or if Pablo, nope. 2 thirds into the net from Zoe, 2 forehand thirds. That was obviously a strategy that California implemented in that timeout. Zoe doesn't miss those as often as that, so that was a little bit surprising.
Eric, it's important to call out where we are on the game. 8-all, you're not hitting freely anymore. There's some pressure.
Yeah,
and that's what I was saying, to feel uncomfortable and believe in the work you've been doing and be able to say to yourself, I've done this 1,000 times, I gotta play the shot. I gotta play to win. I cannot play not to lose. So,
and, you know, so listen, we go into, Vegas takes a timeout, 2 missed thirds. California then, two quick losses and a side out, and now all of a sudden Vegas is back in it. And I would say they have the momentum right now.
Yeah, I think on that specific part, you know, Pablo kind of got maybe too greedy on the decision making, especially on an 8-all.
I think he changed his mind halfway through that shot, and I think he wanted to dink, and then all of a sudden realized that he was not doing the right thing. Wow, what a counter from Pablo.
And I like that. I like the fact that, and important for people that are really watching is you made a decision, it doesn't go your way. That doesn't mean that you're done. Continue, evolve, create, keep playing.
0-0-1. Point. One, 0-1.
Let's go, one here. Let's go. Here, one stop.
Zoe, right now. Zoe, all day. Zoe, sir. Double serve. 1-0-2. 10-8-2.
10-8-2 here. Match point. Oh,
Yeah, Lido out.
11-8. Las Vegas made out.
wow. Wow. So Vegas wins it 11-8. And they win in regulation 3-1 over the California Black Bears. So they earn all 3 standings points. The Black Bears are now have played 2 matches thus far, and they're 0 for 2, so they still have 0 points. And Vegas has earned 5 out of 6 points in terms of standings points. Vegas is staying on this grandstand court right now. There's going to be a little bit of a break, and they are going to be playing against the Bay Area Breakers next up.